Hello, this is Becca from Willow Hill Designs and welcome back. Today I'm working on a Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 5 and it's the wearable prompt just to show my progress and where I have gotten so far. This is my little, I'm kind of calling it a little chatelaine. This is my little chatelaine and I will just show you quickly how I got there. I don't think I talked about this in the last video. I just cut my piece of wool felt and I actually put a piece of fabric over that because I wanted some of that fabric peeking out. Put that over my little piece of wool felt, and then I just took these snippets that I keep by my sewing machine. Did I say snowing? Oh my goodness. Sewing machine as leaders and enders when I'm piecing something. And I just laid them down in a way that I thought that I would like them to look, and not necessarily didn't have to be rectangles. That's just what I had at my machine, but you know, could really do anything. And I wanted to leave some pieces of this fabric with the writing on it showing here and there. And so then what I did to attach them, I didn't want to use my applique pins because sometimes when you're invisible stitching or stitching period, your thread can get caught on the pins. So I used this glue stick. This is a Sew Line glue stick. Hopefully that's not blurry. And it's 4 fabrics and it's water soluble. Not that I plan on washing this little piece, and I just put the tiniest dab just to hold pieces in place. And then I could take this whole piece over to wherever I'm stitching and just sit down and stitch and not worry about pins, taking pins out and my thread catching on pins. So that really made it very easy for me. So then when I had all the pieces down where I wanted them, I just invisible stitched everything in place. And I'll try to, so this is what it looked like, just placing all the different little pieces down. So I used those snippets, and I also used some pieces of Dupioni silk that I had left over from my daughter and son-in-law's wedding quilt. And the hand of this is just beautiful. It's just very soft and supple. And when I was working on the quilt, I lined the pieces with French fuse because silk is notoriously ravelly. And but it doesn't change the hand of anything. So I did pink all the seams, and the little pieces that I had left I saved and used some on this little piece here. So I'll show you what I've done so far. So far I have stitched down this little stamped flower. I stamped a flower on some muslin, and I've stitched some snippets of lace on here, and these little kind of net-like little pieces. I love these little crumbles or little snippets of this, and they come from this lace, the sections in between. I especially love that net-like look on these pieces. I just thought this is such a tiny little piece. I don't need anything too big that would be overwhelming. So some of those went on there. And this is from this lace here. Just some little motifs from this lace, which I absolutely love. I hate the fact that I'm using it up, but used some of those on here for a little contrast along this edge. And then just a little piece of lace. I don't think I have it here, but just a little narrow piece of lace. No, I don't see it. Along this edge, I wanted something dangly at first, or ruffly, but then I didn't want to cover this up because this is such a tiny. I think if it was larger, you could get away with something hanging lower, but because it's so small, I just used a little piece of lace that is maybe, what, 5/8 of an inch or so, just along that edge, and then stitch this lace over it. So that's the top portion there. And then underneath, for this little portion of the pocket, I did a little bit of seed stitching here, and stitched on these little lace motifs, these little pieces of lace, and left some of that fabric with the writing showing through. And some of the colors that I'm using for stitching are this is from the Thread Gatherer. This is a Bride's Blush. This has a tiny bit of pink in it, which I love, and that's very pretty. I'm using that, and I'm using this green. I'll be putting that on this green fabric. This is Chameleon Threads. This is Fern Green, and this is a number 12 Pearl Cotton. It's nice to use silks on silk. This is cotton, though. This is Classic Cotton Works. Classic Color Works, sorry. 100% cotton. And this color is Blushing Beauty, and that's what I used on this patch here. And this blue, I think I'll use as an accent, or maybe even on the handle. And then there was this color too. This is by Threadworks. There's not a color on here, there's a number. But yeah, I think that's very nice. That will go in these pieces, these colors right here. That might look nice to add a little bit of stitching. It'll just be tiny bits of stitching on this because it's such a tiny little pouch. And I didn't know if everyone knows this or not. I just learned this. I just discovered this, that when you have your thread on, I just keep these on a ring. I don't put them on a bobbin or anything. But if you want just a piece of your thread or two pieces, you can just take a needle or whatever and just pull. This is 2 threads here, but you don't have to worry about taking it off your card, and you've got your pieces of thread. And you just grab a thread or two here, depending on what you want, 1 or 2, and just pull it out. Maybe everyone knows this, but I didn't. So I found that very handy to know. So I'll continue here on the back. On the back, I added some lace, and I added this piece. It's kind of like a semicircle, like a half circle, and I put it partially on the back, and then let it wrap around to the front. So a portion of that large motif is visible on the front of the little pouch, and also on the back. Kind of has a nice framing look to it with the little scallop here. So I added that, and those are in, all of this has been invisibly stitched down, the lace, everything. This is from a little string of lace hearts that I added. This was a little piece of muslin I stamped with a little mouse from the store, Beatrix Potter's book, The Tailor of Gloucester. And another piece of that lace that's on the front, I added that here, and I'll be doing some embroidery on this lace. Out of those silks, those Dupioni silks, I cut a little heart here, relating to I love sewing, and I love Beatrix Potter. And here's a little motif that goes on the back, but also comes around. You can see it from the front as well. And I did a tiny bit of a little running stitch around this heart with this silk. This is cotton, and did some running stitch here, and some little lazy daisy stitches right here on this, and I'll be adding some more embroidery. This has running stitch, and I still have to do a little bit up here. I did do a running stitch around the mouse, and then did a weaving through of the thread just to give it sort of a little bit more of a decorative look there. And I think that's it. I'll be adding more embroidery on here as I go along. And I just chose some pieces of silk, and I thought that I would wrap them along the top edge when I put the lining on, just to sort of finish that edge. I chose these colors, but I do have extra that I could use. And then to line it, I cut this fabric, and this fabric has all names of wildflowers on it: buttercup, wild borage, wild daisy, wild primrose, fairy flax, marigold, red campion, fairy flax. So I just loved that wild daisy. I thought that was so pretty, and just would be fitting for this little chatelaine. And so that'll go on like that. I turned this edge under. I'll probably trim that back a tiny bit. And then over here on this edge, this will be turned under, and these silks will wrap around. I'll just stitch those, and they'll cover this edge here. And so on the inside, when you look, I may put my name, which I stamped on here. I may put that in there, and I have a little stamp of a lily of the valley. I may put that on there as well. I don't know, it kind of speaks to us and tells us what it needs as we go along. And then for, let's see, so I will be doing more embroidery on this. And then for the neck piece, the piece that will go around my neck, again, this is just a couple of pieces of selvage from a lightweight canvas, home deck fabric. I've made pillows out of it. It's really a beautiful fabric, but I thought this edge was interesting. So the way that I'm going to attach this to my little piece is that I've chosen 2 buttons. Let's see if I can grab these. I've chosen these 2 little buttons here to go on the back, and then I cut 2 pieces of ultra suede. There's a little thread there. And I made a slit in the ultra suede. If you can see that, there's a little slit. And that's for the button. So what I will do is I will attach this ultra suede to the base of this strap that will go around my neck, and then because of the slit, I can button this little neck strap to the chatelaine, and it will be like this. The buttons will come through. I'll probably narrow those edges to meet the width of the strap, but so they should slip through easily through the ultra suede, and ultra suede doesn't ravel or anything. I've used this for tiny berries and things on quilts, and it's very nice. It feels like suede, truly, but it doesn't ravel, so that's nice. And I think that more often than not, I probably won't have the neck strap on. I'll probably just keep it at my stand where I sew with my hoop. But again, I can attach it if I'm traveling, going out somewhere to visit, and I want to bring my work with me by just buttoning. And it does seem to work out okay with the strap in that position. I wasn't sure if it would hang okay, but it does seem to, if the strap is kind of in this region. back here. And I was hoping that maybe the buttons and the ultra suede would make it look a little bit decorative, kind of cover up the utility part of it. But it seems to hang okay. I don't know if you can see that there, but it seems to hang fine. So I think that spot will be okay. I may put 2 more pieces in the front, not sure. But as I said, more often than not, I probably won't be wearing this. I'll probably be keeping it right at my little stand. So the lining, I will attach the lining when all of the embroidery work is done. And lastly, I was looking for a little button. I may still put some little buttons on here, but I found this little piece of pottery, a little shard of pottery, and it's very special to me. So I was thinking I would add this on here. I thought that that might be interesting to do some stitches over that. I've seen this done before with stones, with washers, with different pieces, shells, different things that people have done. Recently on Marion's World, she stitched on some ceramic found on the beach, and it made me think of this. So I will stitch that on and see how that looks. But I love that little addition, and it just has some special meaning to me, and I think that it will be something different on there. So that's basically where I am. And because this is so tiny, there won't be that much on it. I didn't really want to cover up a lot of these fabrics. I think they're just so pretty. So I did minimal embellishing, but I'll just come in with some threads and just give texture more so than decorative stitching. So I thought I would share where I am right now, and I will be back when it's all finished. Oh, and just quickly, I am planning to add a French seam binding, I think, to these edges to encase the raw edges and then attach the pouch together. Hopefully that'll be wide enough to catch. It's really not very thick, so I think that should be okay. So thank you very much for joining me on my journey with this little pouch. This has been so much fun because it's not big and unwielding. It's just this little tiny piece that you can take out and stitch on while you're watching Dino Hunters. I've been watching Dino Hunters on Discovery, and I just love it. They're digging up T-Rexes and Triceratops. So interesting. I'd love to see one in real life. I'd love to see a dinosaur bone being dug up. But anyway, so thank you for joining me on this journey, and I'm wishing you many blessings, and see you in the next video. Bye for now.